anyone who's made art for like any amount of time has heard the phrase that, you are your own worst critic. And I think that's wrong. And I think it's because art as an action is this sort of plunging into the unknown. Right, when we look at a painting, we first see the painting itself, but then in some way it takes us into its world, and we dwell there. And while we're there, it has this way of making us feel things that we never expected we would have seen or felt, and maybe makes us feel things we didn't know we could feel. And same with a book or music. It's those surprises, it's those little glimmering secrets, right? That give us the deepest experience of a piece of art. And when we create art, we're doing the opposite thing. We take all of the unknown, all of the things that can't be expressed, all of the unexpected inside our own brain and inside of our own soul, right? And it gets put into something tangible, sort of the best approximation we can give. And so in that way, right, we take the unknown and we make it known, and it can be known by others. And that's a really beautiful thing. But what that means when we go back and look at our own art is that it isn't a place of secrets or surprises or the unknown. It's a place full of truth, and often of truth that isn't ever quite enough to express the thing we were feeling. The art is an approximation of that moment. And so it ends up being that almost we can't experience our own art, I think, as art, because it isn't separate from us. It doesn't offer a different world that we can step into. It's a part of us. We're not going anywhere. And so there's very little that can surprise us. There's very little that can, force its way into our soul with emotion. And so people look at their own art, and I think what really ends up happening is we look at our own art and see something that doesn't feel the same as the rest of the art that we've experienced. It lacks that critical something, that surprise, that unknown, that darkness. And so I think the reaction is to say, well, this is bad. right? It's not doing all the things that other art does, that everyone else's art does. So this work must be a bad piece of art. But I think in truth what that means is that it's just that we can't experience our own art honestly. And a dishonest experience of art, something where we come in with a preconceived notion, judging it before it begins, isn't really an experience of art at all. And so we criticize, edit, hoping to somehow get to that point where it feels right, where it does that thing. And I think it just never can. All we can do is express honestly, right? Get that interface from like mind to page or to music to be as, easy and fluid and natural as possible, like we're telling the truth. And then other people will go and they'll see something that is beautiful and alive and full of the unknown and unexpected, and they'll appreciate it and they'll see good art. So, I don't know if that is helpful, but realizing that kind of helped me, like just a minute ago, that when you're looking at your own art, you're not critiquing. Or at least you're not critiquing the art itself. You're critiquing the pieces of it. And like, sure, we can go look at a piece of art we've made and say, well, the same feeling is still there. Maybe it's love, right? I tried to express my love and it didn't come out right. So I'm going to try to express that love again, right? This is the muse, maybe the emotion we're continually trying to capture. But, right, trying again just means attempting to get a better approximation, a truer approximation than last time, and really just another expression as a different person, through time of that feeling, or of a slightly different feeling. So I guess don't critique your own, look at your art and use your past art as a tool to get closer to expressing new things. But to critique one's own art and say, this isn't beautiful, this isn't making me feel enough, I think the reality is just that it can't. And if you try to critique it, then you'll be your own worst critic. But maybe that's not a good idea.